Our Ellen, our stage manager, just called out the time. It is 7:01, and Doc just pointed at the grandfather clock. It says,
there it is.
There you go. We appreciate you guys joining us. I'm going to come around. I'm going to sit here for just about 30 seconds just to make sure people start to sign on. This is Tuesday at 7, and to date stamp, it is January 2025. It's even strange for me to say that.
2025? Why?
I don't know, it just feels like, back in the day.
They add a number every year. It's the way that works.
It works.
Hmm? Yeah, how are you?
I'm good.
Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us as well. You'll enjoy our discussion today. But you know what showed up in my memories? I think it was about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That you and I hadn't met before, and you jumped on a car on the night.
It was just like this, wasn't it?
It was snowy, and it was cold.
Yes. Yeah.
And we interviewed from the road.
Driving somewhere.
From the road.
I don't even remember where we went.
I think we drove past the Barber of Seville.
We did go to Seville, Ohio. That's correct. Yeah, and it was a night just like this. And it's not nice out. If you haven't been out, Roger got in his car and drove all the way down here from a full county away, and is now parked in my driveway, and we're hoping you'll be able to get out.
If not, I see there's a couch back there.
There's a lovely couch.
I might just crash
about
there.
5 feet long. You'll enjoy it.
We appreciate you guys joining us here as well. Tuesday at 7, we are a Facebook group or a community, and we gather most Tuesdays at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and we talk to artists, and we sometimes visit their studio. We're gracious that Doc and his wife Ellen, who's in the other room, invited us right into their humble abode, and it is absolutely beautiful here. Is that you know what? It hasn't gone over Tuesday at 7 yet? Perfect. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to sit for a moment or so because my wife Beth is going to push it into Tuesday at 7. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, it's Tuesday at 7:08. It's not a big thing, right? Yeah.
If you were with us last week, we sat down with 3 of the members of Ventana. They played at the Agora. They started their Cleveland tour here locally, and they're moving.
No, not their Cleveland tour.
Oh, their 2025 tour in Cleveland.
Right. We'll be a very small tour in Cleveland. Yes.
First the Agora, and then and we had a chance to sit down and talk to those band members. But the one thing that is, I think really important to note is that in 3 days, 10,000 people watched that. And the reason why 10,000 people watched that was because of the shares.
Right.
And what we've learned is that about every share equates to about 100 views. And so what we want to do is encourage you guys to share here tonight.
Because we're looking for like 100 views. That's what we're hoping for, right?
We're hoping for 100. I bet you we get...
How about we get 100?
Get 100?
Yeah, I think so.
100.
I know the one where we drove around in the car, we had like 30 or 40.
We had 30 or 40?
Yeah, it was pretty impressive, that was. I don't remember what we talked about. Arts. Creativity.
And it
little
was,
C's.
we were all, we took a nice journey down the road, but we took a nice journey on the conversation. We even ended up at the, right there on the square.
Oh, we did. That's exactly right.
We ended up at the square.
Yeah, so let's reminisce some more about that.
Yeah.
No, we weren't even doing this music thing.
I know.
Then.
Not back then.
It hadn't even entered our little brains that it would be a good way to give away money.
Yeah. Well, let's start here. In the very bottom left-hand side of your screen, there's an arrow. And when you press that arrow, Facebook will prompt you as to what to do next. When you press it, it will give the opportunity to share to a group, to share to individuals, and also to share to your friends list. And we encourage you to do so because this is a good cause. But in addition to it being a good cause, and you're going to learn more about that, you get the opportunity to win something. So every single time you share, we know it. And then next week, we're going to draw a winner. And if your name is drawn, what are you offering?
Well, we have actually, this is a rare thing because we're doing a choice.
A choice.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're going to talk about music and musical instruments tonight. So we thought, well, we'll get a couple of musical instruments out and see what we can do. So I brought you two, one over here, and I don't.
Is this right here?
Yeah, right here on the top. So here's your first choice. If you share, and if Roger or Beth or whoever's drawing out of the hat next week pulls your name out, you have an option to receive a 4-string Ola ukulele, right? This is the good one. So you may be a 6-string ukulele player. You may never have played one. I just had Mrs. Loomis tune this thing. Beautiful. It's ready for you to go. I actually learned to play 2 chords on it, and if I can play 2 chords, you'll probably do fine. Now, you don't like the ukulele, you say. So now we have this rare piece up here. Now, this is, it's spelled differently than it sounds, but these are called barons. And you've probably seen this if you've been to Ireland, been around a Celtic band. A baron is now, I actually made that beater. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So if you've seen these before, you hold it in one hand, and then with your right hand, there's a couple ways to play it, but it's a drum for dummies. I love it. Almost anybody can play along, whether you got rhythm or not, kind of like bongos, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we are going to give you your choice. You may either choose this, and this is just, if you're into brands, this is an Ola ukulele. I don't know why it's called Ola. I actually think they just spelled aloha wrong.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I think. But this is an Ola ukulele, really sweet. And this Boudhran Baron is your other option. So when the drawing comes about, you simply call Uncle Roger and let him know which one you want, and I will make sure it gets to you.
Yeah.
Is that right? Don't we usually leave them in the middle of the square in North Royalton?
Yeah.
They'll be in the gazebo in North Royalton. You just come on by and pick them up. They'll be there unless somebody takes them. That's good?
That's
yeah.
right. That's
Yay. Right. So share. Because if you don't share, you can't win.
Yeah, you can't.
There is no way, is there?
There's no way to win.
You can't even bribe you to win without sharing. Okay, good.
You can't bribe. And we're going to dig in. You might get a peek behind us because there's a whole bunch of instruments.
There are.
But tell us about the Western Reserve Instrument Rescue and Adoption. Yeah,
we wanted a name that would be easily remembered, so we went with one that was like 6 or 7 words long. It was a funny thing how this happened. We have 15 grandkids. Mm-hmm. Some of our grandkids play musical instruments, and I just found out that, about a year ago, that my daughter, in this case, was paying a rental fee for a clarinet for our granddaughter. Mm. And I thought, a rental fee? Because I'm older, and when I was a kid, we didn't have instrument rentals. Your parents bought you an instrument, but they weren't that expensive. So your parents generally could buy you an instrument. Nowadays, instruments have gotten pretty expensive. Parents are a little more strapped than I can remember my parents being. And so you go to the local music store, and in your area, that'd be like Royalton Music.
Yep.
And you say, I want a clarinet. And you get the clarinet, and then you pay a monthly fee. And you may be paying a rent-to-own fee, but it's always going to be a monthly fee. And monthly fees, I found out, are not necessarily cheap. Yeah. So like for a clarinet, maybe $25, $30 a month. The larger, the more complex the instrument, probably the prices will go up as much as $75 a month for a baritone or a tuba, something like that. So you do the math on it over the course of a year, just something as simple as a $50 instrument, which is about the high end of average. You're talking $600 a year to have an instrument. Well, yes, instruments are expensive, but if a parent knows what they're doing, they could go on a place like Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, find an instrument, and pay significantly less than you'd pay for, say, a year of rentals.
Yeah.
The challenge is most parents don't really have the first idea what they're looking for in an instrument, what names work, is the instrument in reasonable playing condition?
Yeah.
And most importantly, will the school permit the instrument to be used? There are some manufacturers that schools would prefer not to have in their bands. And now we're talking about beginners in 5th grade. We supply instruments to 6, 7, 8, and high school kids primarily. And the goal was very simple. Help parents to not have to pay a monthly rental fee.
Yeah.
And what we found out is there's people everywhere who have instruments in their closets. They have the same instrument they played in high school. They may have carried it over to college, but somewhere in a room in the house, I guarantee you, every one of you knows where there's one right now. So we're like, let's get this thing out. Let's give it new life. And let's give these kids who otherwise couldn't afford it a chance to play a musical instrument, because we know, we know what Ventano knows. We know that music is something we carry with us through our life.
Yeah.
It completely shapes us in very different ways than people who don't play instruments are shaped.
Yeah.
And so we want every kid to at least have a few years. I mean, I didn't play an instrument my whole life. Did you?
I didn't. I mean,
did you play anything?
I did the 7th and 8th grade.
What did you? No, did you play?
I played I actually
French horn.
I actually owned a cornet, and I don't know what I owned a cornet. I played a cornet because it was kind of given to me from my brother.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get a choice. It was kind of like, oh, we got a cornet here. You play this.
Yeah. So interestingly, or not, nobody plays a cornet anymore.
Just because they don't make them anymore?
No,
or like the bands are like, no, we have trumpets and...
Yeah, bands. I mean, if you look through a typical, like a middle school band,
yeah,
and you've got 17 trumpet players, you're unlikely to find a cornet. Number one, there's different notes, so we have different keys.
Oh.
So it becomes like, for the band director, I have to teach one kid how to play that, whereas I could teach a section of trumpets, right?
Right?
That's a part of it. The other part of it is a trumpet it's much more flexible in terms of the way it's keyed and the way that you can move around musically, and frankly it's louder. So yeah, when I was a kid, you had your choice. A lot of my friends played cornets. Now, where do you find a cornet? Maybe somebody who's playing in a jazz ensemble, something like that.
Somebody who grew up playing it? Is that what?
Somebody who grew up playing it,
right?
But it's not that much different than a trumpet.
Yeah, right.
You find for like a 5th grader, it's like actually a great instrument. Because if you're a small kid, cornet, for those of you who don't know, it's smaller than a trumpet, like this. So for small hands, much easier to work the keys, much easier to hang on to. Trumpets and then you can transition fairly smoothly into a trumpet, which is what. Right. So we get a lot of cornets. And we'll probably have a cornet museum before long, because really nobody wants them right now.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Tell us more about the some parents not knowing might go to Amazon and purchase an instrument that is not necessarily one that it would be approved by the band or.
So in the 1960s, when I got my first instrument, my parents went to a local music store in Cleveland. And Cleveland was really a hub for musical instrument creation. The White, the King, companies that were producing instruments in Cleveland were very popular. So we went to a music store that carried, King, and we bought a baritone horn. That's what I played. And the baritone horn was, that's the only place you could. You went to a music store. That's how it worked.
Yeah.
Sears Roebuck catalog, you could order one. That was something, but no Amazon, right? So what Amazon has done is it's begun contracting or working with companies primarily in China, Singapore, Korea, who are manufacturing what appear to be just fantastic instruments. Yeah. I mean, I get them all the time, and they look like $1 million. And some of them actually play all right. They come under the names of Glory and Mendini and Cecilio and others. And the challenge with them is they're of a quality that, while it plays okay, when something goes wrong, it's almost impossible to get them repaired. Like the people at Woodsy's, Royalton, I mean, they really don't want to look at that instrument and try to repair broken keys, because they just don't think there's enough quality there to make it worth the investment. So you're going to pay $239 to $289 for a saxophone on Amazon.
That's disposable.
Because that's what a repair bill is going to be.
Repairs. So you're just, I mean, if one were to do that, and I can understand.
So we tell kids with flutes all the time, especially. A good Gemeinhardt flute is quite expensive, $1,000. You can buy a flute on Amazon for $59 to $79. It will be a decent flute, and the day it dies, you can buy another one for less than it would cost. In other words, one of the things that a lot of folks don't know, parents don't know, is that they go out and buy a used instrument and they don't really appreciate how much the repair is.
Mm.
So, by example, a flute has 16 holes in it. And to replace the little pad that's under that key that closes that hole is $15. So I can buy a perfectly good, beautiful looking silver flute, give it to my kid, and the next thing you know, I realize the pads are dried out, need to be replaced. I'm out $240. Because replacing pads, this is the best thing. I have learned so much. Like, I knew about baritones and pianos. That's about all I know. So everything else I've had to kind of like whittle away and learn.
Learn along the way.
And one of my favorite things was the first day I got a flute, I was like, $240 to replace the pads. No problem. I will order pads on my Amazon, and then when they come, I'll just pop them in. And that is not the way that works. No, this is digging them out, burning them out, gluing them in and burning them in and pressing them down and getting them to do this thing. It is rightly done by somebody who's a professional, not by a guy like me. And, and the whole, and as with most instruments, there's little surprises. Flutes are made up with tiny little pieces of metal tubing that have tiny little screws, like the screws in your eyeglasses. Mm. And I just said eyeglasses. God, that made me feel old. But there's tiny little screws, and there's a bunch of them under my couch right now that they just fall out. And then you just take the flute, throw it in the garbage can. That's about all you can do. It's horrible.
Yeah. So, guys, thank you for joining us today. We are talking with Doc Loomis about the Western Reserve. I want to make sure I get it right. The Western Reserve Instrument Rescue and Adoption.
I'm so regretting that name right now.
Well, but you know what?
It is. It says it all.
It says what it is. I mean, if you stumble upon it, you know exactly what's going on here.
Well, no question about that. We certainly overdid it. And it's not too late to share. Remember, you can still share this right up until the end, right?
You can share it all the way till next week when we
all the way till
next week.
Really?
Till next week.
You mean like after we're done, we're asleep, we've gone home, you can still share.
You can share it. You can share it and it will move. And again,
okay, do that, please. Stay with us, but do something.
It's a good cause. And if you share, it's likely that 100 people will see it based upon just like the data that we come across.
No pressure.
If 100 people see it, and then maybe there's an opportunity, for a music adoption, an instrument adoption, but as importantly, an opportunity, to maybe rescue an instrument or so.
Yeah, that's the part. Like, I wish we had with us a way to do this, but we've talked about how do we do a commercial or a live presentation like this. Yeah. What we need, how the dog with the weepy eyes. And in the cold winter, we need instruments like that. Instruments that look sad and that have weepy eyes and are left outside. Because somewhere in these people's homes, y'all have them. So what we live and die by is your ability to go and dig through a closet or a basement and pull something out. And, it really doesn't matter that much. Well, it usually doesn't matter that much what condition it's in. We can restore and clean up pretty much anything. We sanitize them. We get them all nice. But I say that, and then every once in a while, and I hope she's not watching because she's a lovely lady, but a gal gave us a flute a couple weeks ago, and I am convinced that the flute was used to hammer in deck screws. And when they were putting a deck, it had actual divots in it. Like, I'd never seen that in a flute. So maybe at that level, okay. But almost everything is good for parts. Those little screws? Yeah, I can get them off that flute.
You get them off that flute. So, and you know what? And this is not anything that we talked about, so I'm just going to throw this out there. And so, Tuesday at 7, we're going to put a goal to donate 12 instruments.
12?
12.
So, most people will donate one instrument, which is great. But I have to tell you a story. So I get this, there was a lady and her husband, up close to you.
Yeah.
A little closer to Parma. And she had, an ad up on Marketplace.
Yeah.
And there was an instrument in the ad that I kind of wanted. So I kind of wrote her and said, and her grandmother ran a music school on the West Side. Mm. And she said, I have a, what do I want to call those things? A storage bin.
Yeah.
She said, I have grandma's storage bin. And she said, you can have everything in it So when I showed up to her house, there were almost 30 instruments of all kinds. I mean, we could barely fit them all in the car to get them home. And that was the largest donation we've ever had. What I'm hoping for is that, like 12 to 15, just go for like 20 instruments would be great. But let me tell you what we need, because we work primarily with kids beginning in 5th grade. And if you have kids and you've been to like a middle school concert or an elementary school concert, then you know what we're looking for. We're looking for the instruments that you see on stage. So it's going to be largely trumpets, saxophones, trombones, flutes, and clarinets. Those are the big things. Yeah. You will occasionally see other instruments on stage, but those tend to be the ones. Most schools actually have their own euphonium class, tubas, euphoniums, baritones, that they let kids use because they're so outrageously expensive for a parent to buy. But those are the basic things that we're looking for. Now, so if you have something like that, absolutely positively let us know. We drive, where are we going tomorrow, Ellen? We are going to Olmsted Falls tomorrow, to pick up from a very nice lady a clarinet. And so, I mean, we drive to pick them up and we drive to deliver. So can I talk about delivery?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because that's the whole point. The whole thing here is to help a kid who might not otherwise be able to afford, or a family that might not be able to afford an instrument, to actually have one of their very own. And the first instrument we gave away, we just started doing this year, right? The first instrument we gave away was right back here in this room, and it was to a little kid. It was a trombone. And this guy came in, and it was like, I had 2 trombones on the table. I didn't have 10 instruments at that time. And I said, but I had 2 trombones. I said, you can pick the one you want. And he walked in here with his mom, and he just looked at the table, and it was like he could not believe that somebody was giving him a trombone. And frankly, mom couldn't either. And that look on that kid's face is irreplaceable. I mean, I've been doing church work for almost 45 years now. I've seen a lot of happy people, rejoicing people. This smile that came over this kid. And I said, man, I'm addicted to that. I want to see that more often.
Yeah.
So now we have the chance to do it. So we'll actually deliver an instrument to the home, make sure that the kid knows how to set it up, how to grease it, how to use it if it needs grease. And then give them a chance to just play it for a few seconds, to make sure it works, to make sure that the kid's happy with it.
Now, are you capturing some photos or some video of that adoption?
Our Facebook page, Western Reserve Instrument Rescue and Adoption, you go to the Facebook page and just, you can like us if you want. That's great. But at least scroll down the page. I mean, if you really want to get tickled, to see these pictures of the kids they're posing with we have a rule. If we give you an instrument, you have to let us take a picture. That's the deal.
That's your rule.
Yeah, that's the rule. And, we have another rule.
I know the other rule, too.
Do you know the other? What is it?
Isn't it if you decide that you no longer want to play it,
right?
Call us back and we'll find another home. We'll readapt it.
We can't make you do that, but we ask them, because some kids they do give up after a year. You played a couple of years and then you were probably done. And what happened to the cornet? Who knows?
I have no idea.
Right. So we'll try to pass it along if we can. But that opportunity to go into, I mean, we have made, we did a delivery. Story time? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Jackson Township is down below us. And I know Erin's watching right now, so I'll tell the story for her. We have a little girl down there who wants a saxophone. And I only have one saxophone in the house. It was donated by the Petrocelli family in Akron. It is a $3,000 Yamaha. It is the most gorgeous saxophone you've ever seen. And this little girl has helped me 11. Yes. So I have another saxophone that's not, it's more like a Mendini quality, remake. Ellen and I drive down to Jackson Township, and everybody's happy. We're gonna, she's gonna have her horn, and it turns out that it's really not a very good saxophone. Again, we're learning a lot, and so I went home, and everything we do this is all about generosity. We're trying to show kids that being generous is important. We want the kids who've received these gifts to grow up to give gifts, right?
Right.
So, and that's just a part of our faith journey, I suppose, too. So I prayed about it. I said, what am I supposed to do, God? I said, I can't leave her with this saxophone, but the only other one I have is this one. And he said, just give it to her. So we did. And, the other day we were watching the Notre Dame, kind of a Notre Dame fan, kinda. And, we were watching the Notre Dame game, and she busted out that saxophone and started playing the halftime show. And Mom sent me a video of her playing it. It was just so wonderful to make friends in that way. But the end of the story is that about 5 days later, I see a saxophone, a decent Selmer Bundy, they're called, and it was down in Canal Fulton. And the guy that's selling it seems like a nice guy, and he's going to give me a good deal on it. So I drive down to Canal Fulton, and I'm standing in the driveway. I get out my cash. The guy hands me the saxophone. And I said, thank you. Here's your money. And he goes, well, he said, I'll tell you a little story. He said, I was going to charge you for the saxophone, but then I prayed about it. And the Lord said, just give it to him. His exact same words that I had just heard 4 or 5 days before we made that, transition. And I thought, this is great. This is one of those things where God has actually been the major blessing in all of this. Yeah. Getting to know these people, getting to see the kids' faces, and seeing how the Lord. So now we go from having maybe 10 instruments in the house to having a room we can't use anymore. Yeah. I mean, our upstairs it's ridiculous. And
there's a whole bunch of instruments back here too.
Oh, that may be 10% of what's
10% of what's upstairs?
That's absolutely crazy.
How do you feel about all those instruments?
She doesn't feel good about it. How do you feel, hon? She's got her earphones in. Yeah, absolutely great.
Yeah, maybe she's just.
So this would be the time to tell you that what we're trying we like any. I mean, this is a charity, yes. Yeah. But like any business, you have to kind of jumpstart it, right? And we knew up front that it was going to take a while before people started donating, and we were getting press. Like we got this wonderful Cleveland.com and Sun Papers bit. Having you here is like way big for us. We knew we were going to have to buy instruments up front.
Right.
And so we did. And I know, hey, hon, earphones are in. I would say we spent about $10,000 just picking up instruments to get started.
To kickstart it,
just to get going. Right. So now, the instruments are starting to come in a lot more frequently. And frankly, we're getting better at buying them. Mm. I mean, I didn't know what things were valued at. I didn't know what, I would bring an instrument home. I'd be very excited about my purchase. Then I'd look and the spit valve was missing, and that's going to be $100. And we don't make that same level of mistake quite as often anymore.
And purchasing. Yeah. Well, we appreciate you guys joining again. We're going to encourage you to hit the share button, share it to your friends or to a group that you belong to. If you share, we know it, and then next week we're going to draw a winner. If your name is drawn, you get the option of a 4-string ukulele.
A ukulele or a baron.
Yeah, and so you get the option, and we'll find a way to get that to you. But in the meantime, you said you were looking kind of for that puppy dog instrument that was just going to tug on, somebody's heartstrings, right?
Yeah, that's sad.
That sad look.
Yeah.
I might have a sad instrument because we're for Tuesday 7. We're putting up at least an instrument goal of 12. But the reason why we put that goal of 12 instrument rescues is because there's 2 over here, and you don't know what.
I have no idea.
You have no idea. But let's go take a look at the first 2.
Yeah, they walked in the door with you.
They walked in the door.
Just to be clear, they weren't.
They walked in the door, and one was donated from one of my family members. When they found out that I was coming there, she's like, "Yep, let's do it." And I have no idea whether this is a sad puppy dog.
Oh, let's hope so.
And the other one, I trash picked. It's in the trash.
You told me about this.
I picked it up out of the trash.
I mean, literally like out of a can at the street?
It was literally on the side of the road. you know, when somebody clears out
Oh,
their garage or
I
something.
needed a photo of that.
I know when somebody puts, you know, a bunch of stuff, I am one every time as an artist, as a treasure hunter. I'll slow down.
Was it a cold day at least?
It wasn't even cold. It was a beautiful day, and it was out. And they were still putting it out. And I'm like, I'm going to stop. And there was an instrument.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I would have never. I probably would have picked it up anyways, but I would have. But I knew that
Make a lamp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I knew that this was kind of a passion of yours, and I had a purpose for it, which is move it over, and hopefully it's, you know, maybe it's not a puppy dog. Maybe it's something that you can put minimum effort into, and you know.
So we only have 10 more instruments to go.
Only 10 more.
Like, we're already 2 up on the thing.
And when we get to 12 total, we're already 2.
Then we'll change it. Then we'll change it.
And then we're going to change it. But at that point, what's going to happen is I'm going to do an original piece of artwork. So we're going to put the first 10 names essentially.
Okay.
In a drawing, and we're going to draw it, and I'm going to provide original piece of artwork. I might actually do portrait paintings. So you'll have 1 in 10 chances of winning an original piece of artwork as well.
You know what I would love to do too? If we have somebody, and I do know we do, but I don't want to say any names. If we have somebody that works in metal, particularly can work with the light metals like brass, I have enough beat up instruments that if somebody wanted them to create a piece of art, I'd be happy to donate them along. Because we just won't use them. I mean, they'll never ever find a home.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to put out, you know, a friend of mine, Jerry Schmidt, who I just got done, and some of those others. So we'll pitch that. And if you're interested in that, you know, just DM us, and that is, you know, maybe making a piece of artwork with the old beat-up instruments. But let's walk over and take a look to see if these are puppy dog, sad puppy dog. I don't know anything about instruments. I played 7th and 8th grade, and I put down the cornet. I don't know where it went. And so I'm interested in learning more and having you take a look at.
Excellent. Let's do it. Too. You're going to bring that with us?
Yeah, I'm going to follow.
You are a professional.
This is we have a lot of folks watching. Thank you guys. And we are in, what is this? I mean, this is an
it's an 1850 home.
1850 home.
We just finished we were on the, what do they call it? The Medina Holiday Home Tour, I think.
You know, it's
I should know
it's
that.
Inappropriate for me to just
absolutely
hang around here, but so right here.
Yeah.
Take a look at these, Doc.
Right. These here.
These 2 cases.
Okay,
Can you tell what an instrument is by the case?
I can, actually.
You can?
Yes, I know this is a Bundy saxophone.
Okay.
They do have kind of unique. I mean, the old cases were a little more form-fitting. Mm-hmm. The ones today are a little boxier.
So
this is probably from the 70s.
This one came out. This was on the side of the road. This is the garbage.
No.
This is the garbage.
No.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a Bundy Selmer alto saxophone. It is in. I'm not playing every key,
right?
But I'm going to tell you, it is in very good condition. People sell these all the time online. $300 maybe for a used one. Mm-hmm. This is absolutely gorgeous.
There's
nothing sad about this. This is a saxophone that's very happy. It's as nice as any of the pretty ones I put out for you today. It is absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, I don't see anything in the least bit. I mean, just cursory glance. No, I mean, it's even like it's actually got a nice lacquer on it. I mean, the brass is, you know, they're all rough.
Yeah.
But this is gorgeous, Roger.
And I have no idea. Is there anything else in that case? I mean, sometimes maybe there's
yes. Sometimes we find money in the cases. Yeah. We do. It's amazing the stuff you find. You find love notes to the little girl in the flute section. You find all sorts of really cool things. Now this is, so reeds. A lot of these come with reeds. Now this is amazing. See, we were just looking for one a little bit. This is a Korg tuner. Mm-hmm. So that's a huge bonus. And this came from somebody, Lentines, did a repair and making music. So there's a little bit of background on it.
Background right there from the case.
Yeah, I mean, this is phenomenal.
Garbage.
I just can't even believe that you got that out of the garbage.
And you know what's unusual, and it's something that I believe that we have the ability to attend to different things, right? Like I was not looking for instruments,
Right.
but now that I know there's a
When you see
rescue
one,
and adoption, I see it, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
And so these two instruments were a result of just you kind of changing the filters. Going, there's an organization that is finding homes. You know what this is?
Yeah, this is actually, a little while ago we were talking about local companies that manufactured instruments, and we mentioned King Cleveland. This is actually a King Cleveland instrument. So this was probably made here and local. It's another sax, you could kind of tell. And like the first one, the professional musicians are watching me go like this, and you can't tell anything from that. What I'm looking at is whether the keys are moving freely, and whether what kind of condition the pads are in. This this came from a family member, you think?
This came from my mom. This was
from your mom?
Yeah, this was
your 88-year-old mom?
My 88-year-old mom.
Did she play this?
She did not, but that was played by my brother.
Oh.
Played by one of my older brothers. And it was up in the attic, and she said, yep, Dave, and my brother's no longer alive, but she's like, Dave would have preferred that somebody play that instrument as opposed to just
we're getting really close to the sad puppy dog eyes.
Oh, yeah. So
I'm loving this.
This is the
Dave, thanks. Thanks, Mom. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, this also is in, I think there's a little bit of cleanup that needs to be done. I can tell from the serial it's 70s.
Yep, 70s.
It is, it just needs a little bit of cleanup, and then a little. I mean, it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, we've never got two saxophones on the same day. It should be like a holiday of some kind. Saxophone day, and the neck. It's amazing.
That probably hasn't been opened in 40 years. That
smells good.
Yeah.
But even the cork is in good shape. Once it's re-greased and everything, we do replace a lot of cork. Beautiful mouthpiece. Everything is gorgeous. Oh my gosh. So yes, that's exactly how it works.
All right. So we're done with 2. The next donation will be 3, and when we get to let's say 12 or so, and then we'll figure out a piece of art. We're going to give original piece of art.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. But we have a bunch of instruments here. So give us a little tour of what it is. So these are other instruments that have been donated, or were some of these that you kind of jump-started with some purchasing?
It would be hard to remember each and every one.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, the challenge we have is saxophones and trombones. Mm-hmm. We get very few donations of those. In fact, I can say that of the saxophone donations, we've probably received a half a dozen over the year, of which these are 2 more. Oh. So that's pretty rare. In fact, it's very rare.
Is it just because that they're
because they're available? They're sellable. People want them, and want money, right? Parents are wise to sell them. Yeah. I mean, if I was a parent and I were, and I had a $350 saxophone, I'd probably try and, put it on Marketplace. So that happens. But then you get, like, for instance, clarinets, which have remained relatively unchanged for a long time. They wind up in the back of coat closets. Trombones are big. You're aware that there's a trombone in your house. A baritone horn like I played, like this one, you're aware that this is around because it's in a, it's in a big case. Yeah. And so you're going to probably sell them. The clarinet comes in a case that's about that big. And like I say, it's going to wind up behind some muck boots in a closet.
Right.
And so we get all kinds, but primarily the ones that were sold, like the 3 you're looking at here. Mm-hmm. They're all resin. I think there's 2 Bundys and another, but they're almost identical in every meaningful way. So what we do is clean them, make sure that the pads are good on them, and then we can pass them right along. And when we give something like a clarinet or a saxophone away, if it's a reed instrument, you're going to get a handful of reeds. You're going to get grease. You're going to get everything you need, and the cleaning equipment for it. And I actually have a granddaughter who I will boast is first chair in her middle school band clarinet. And recently I started taking clarinets to her because I don't know anything about, a clarinet is, let's like, look at that. I mean, could you even, I can't even.
I don't even know how to hold it.
Yeah,
right?
it looks like surgical equipment. I don't have any idea what to do with it. So I've tried to learn, I can play a reed, I can make a sound, but she can actually play the horn and tell me that it's going to be good or not good. And so we make sure that the instruments are each tested before they go out.
Yeah. What is this instrument right here?
The silver one?
Yeah, the silver one right here.
So that actually showed up.
It kind of looks like a clarinet to me, but...
And it is. And so this instrument actually showed up. I was telling you about the lovely couple who gave us the car full of stuff from Grandma's music school. Right? And this was a very popular clarinet around 1900 to 1920, maybe 1930. They're silver. This one's called a Calvert. I really can't find out much about this particular manufacturer. There were many, but this was, like I say, very popular.
Like 100 years ago.
Yeah, like I look at pictures of my granddad and grandmother met playing. They met in town. They played in a band together at a church. Actually, the church I serve now. And if you look at pictures of them, they both played fiddle, and they're surrounded by guys with these. Pictures 1920, 1921, that era. This was extremely popular. They have a very different sound than a clarinet. And even the clarinets today are, there's plastic clarinets, which are the lower end, a form of resin clarinet, kind of a little more intermediate, and then the wood clarinets, which are a much rounder and more beautiful tone. These pretty well squeak their way through, but they're beautiful. I mean, that's the thing I miss. I love the way the brass shines, and I wish we still had clarinets. But look at the bore on it. I mean, you can see it's extremely small.
Oh, yeah.
So much higher pitch than these. So, and that's something that I think that we don't really teach our kids this, and certainly as parents, I never knew this. But instruments come in all different keys. And you would think, well, that's kind of ridiculous. Like if you line up 10 pianos and they're all tuned together, they're going to play like one piano, ostensibly. But musical instruments come in E flats and A's and B's, and we call them altos, and we call them sopranos, and we call them baritones. They have different key signatures, and they play from different parts of the scale. And that is it wasn't done really intentionally. It's an historic reality. Mm-hmm. When the instruments were first made, most instruments there were not this level of keys, the level of valves that we have even in a simple trumpet just didn't exist. And so you were kind of stuck playing in a key. And the key in which you were playing, historically just stayed with the instrument. And so it would be wonderful if we could go back and tune them all out the same. But the reality is that they are maintaining their historicity, which I actually think is kind of neat. Yeah. And it doesn't seem to pose a problem. I mean, even for seventh graders, that's what I love. We love we're going to a concert Thursday night, I think. And it's our granddaughter and a friend of ours, and they're in 8th grade now. And we started going to their concerts in 6th grade, and it was clarinet and and the song that we all played, Hot Cross Buns. You remember that one?
Hot Cross Buns,
That's the first song you learned. And then you saw all these kids on trombones and all these kids on clarinets and trumpets. Then you moved to 7th grade. The kids kind of grew up. And when they got to 7th grade, suddenly the numbers were a little smaller in each section. Yeah. And the music was a little, now they were playing things like Mexican dance. There was a whole different style of music coming in. And now, like, we go to the 8th grade concerts. We're like, who are these people? We did not play this well. I mean, whoever is teaching music in the schools. Now, our kids are in the Medina district, and I do know who's teaching here, but the people that are teaching music today are simply the finest music teachers we've ever had. Mm. And for a lot of them, a lot of the schools, they're doing something very different than we did. Because when you and I were in school, we had a band. And in the wintertime, we sat in a big room and we played our horns.
We sat in the band room,
and then we had and then we had a concert. Yeah. And everybody, And then when fall came around, or summer, late summer, we put on our marching band uniforms and marched on the football field, and that's kind of what we did. Today, almost every school that I know is working with not only a band, but also an orchestra. And the kids that we work with who, like a lot of the kids that we work with who play saxophone in the band will wind up playing a violin in orchestra, which I find mind-bending.
Yeah,
I don't know. I played baritone horn. It has 3 valves. It is for dummies. I mean, and all my euphonium playing friends will hate me for saying that, but it's true. It's not that hard. To play a violin is like one of the hardest things that you will ever learn to do. And so these kids, and you know the type, they're playing a violin, they're playing a saxophone. It's amazing. Yeah. So we've had to learn, as I said, to kind of be able to do a little bit of luthier work on the violins just to keep up with that side of it. And I want to show you this one just because. So I got a friend named Dave Harrison. He is one of these guys that played the trumpet his whole life. Yeah. But when he got older, he said, what can I do with this? So he began playing the trumpet and the bugle. Years went by. He's playing for funerals, etc. He took a position with Bugles Across America, which is this most amazing. I do a lot of funerals, and I do a lot at military parks. And Dave will show up. He'll do 5 and 6 funerals a day playing taps at one of these parks.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is amazing. He's also a massively fun trumpet player. Yeah. So he had this horn. Dave and I had the same music teacher. This is just how it all begins for all of us. We had a music teacher who played piano. Mrs. Johnson was our piano teacher. And when Lucille died, she left this horn to Dave in her will. And this horn is from the Holton Company. And this is the one that was manufactured in 1921. It's in mint condition. And as you can see, compared to any of the other horns here, it is a cornet style. So you can see how much shorter it is.
That's what I played. Yeah, I played the cornet.
So this cornet in particular is extremely special. And the student that gets it, like if you're watching this and you have a student who does play a cornet, or you're a professional even, because I really would love to see this go to a professional hand. It's literally priceless, but it's going to go to somebody. Yeah. So if you know somebody, let me know who that is. And also, can I just say, we get instruments that we don't use. So it's not unusual for somebody to say, I have a snare drum, I have a glockenspiel, I have bells, I have guitars. And if you have stuff like that, we will take it. Absolutely. We will do our best to find a home. Oh, best story. So it's Christmas. It's before Christmas. It's like October. And this enormously fun family wants to surprise their daughter with a guitar. And it just happens that we had a couple, not great, kind of beginner guitars sitting here and nobody wanted them. And so I said, well, yeah, I actually do have one in a gig bag. And so we gave it to them and we put a picture on the Facebook page, but we couldn't show. We blurred out the dad's face because we didn't want his daughter to know. I don't know what I thought his daughter was on Facebook, but we didn't want somebody to say something. Yeah. So I said, all I ask you is when you give it to her on Christmas, will you please send me a photo of her, with this thing. So, oh my gosh. So not only do I get a picture, but I get the complete video of her tearing open the wrapping and all this stuff. And then they're good, faithful people. Mom then sits her down and explains to her how the instrument came to her, that it was a gift, that it was just, people being generous in the name of the Lord. And the kid there's a picture. She's just sitting on the couch, bawling her eyes out because she was so happy. I love stuff like that. So even something we don't normally use, if you've got it, let me know. We'll try and find a home for it. Pianos, no. Absolutely no pianos.
No pianos.
No pianos. We have zero room for pianos and zero call. Every piano in America is free. You know that.
Yeah.
Just go on Marketplace. There they are. What are we missing here?
Well, you know what I mean? We're missing a whole lot of comments and likes and hearts and everything that's going on here. I know that we've got Brianna, we had Tom McGallis. I see that Ellen shared. I see that we've got Karen. Guess who else is watching? Steffi. And I saw her just this weekend.
Did you really?
I did.
Hi, Steffi.
Yeah,
she's got a new job. She's so excited.
I know.
I know. We're all very excited too. Yep, we are too.
And but I don't know that we're missing much.
What I can't believe is I haven't played anything for you.
Now, which instrument did you play growing up?
This big thing.
That one?
Yeah.
Do you have a mouthpiece?
Oh no, I left them all upstairs.
Oh,
intentionally. Yeah, no, I actually played this. It was an Ambassador Olds. This is a con from the Elkhart, Indiana cons. Mm-hmm. It's a very simple instrument to play, like I said. And I was never, I was so bad. There's a guy who's watching right now. He was our band director at Culver Military Academy, where I went to school. And this guy, I know right now, he's just sitting there going, it's good that he found something to do with instruments, because he sure as heck never could play one. I was horrible. I think in marching band, I rarely played. I was so worried about where I was walking that I don't really remember tooting an awful lot.
Playing a whole lot.
Didn't really help.
Doc, we appreciate you inviting us in your house. It's January 2025. It is snowy outside. It is inviting in here. And I absolutely love the cause, and I think our community is going to get behind it as well. Again,
I would love it.
What we're hoping for is that you share this video. If you share the video and your name is drawn, you get an opportunity to win a Ola ukulele, 4-string ukulele, and what's that?
I know it looks like it's a bodron, but it's a baron.
A baron.
Yes, like Baron Trump.
So if your name is drawn next week, you'll get an option of one or the other instrument.
Yes.
And then a secondary goal is it's going to be the Tuesday at 7 goal. It is our goal to rescue 12 instruments, and we already have 2. We walked in with 2, and we're going to try to get another 10. And when we get the other 10, we're gonna find a piece of artwork.
Yes. And you know the folks who are watching can absolutely like our page.
Yes.
I mean, I tell you what, it's just worth liking to see every once in a while when that kid pops up. It's a refresh. It's good news. Yeah. It's one of those pages that's full of good news. And at the top of the page, pinned at the top, is our GoFundMe.
Yeah, because it costs money.
It costs huge money
to start or to do repairs, and move around. So if somebody has money, they can go to the GoFundMe. Yeah. And just donate $50.
Yeah, we just put one up. It's got it has a $3,000 limit. We're not trying to get rich. We make zero. We lose mucho and make zero. The whole point of this is to make sure that the kids win. Yeah. And so the little things that we have to do, the repairs we have to make, the reeds we have to buy, the pads, whatever, all those things do cost money. There's no question. Yeah. And it would be really nice if we had a little bit to work with.
A few $100 in there.
It's always
go
nice.
Ahead and
maybe a few $1,000.
Well, Doc, thank you for inviting us to your house and introducing us to the Western Reserve Instrument Rescue and Adoption.
And you're going to say a personal thank you to Mom. Yeah. Please. That's just so wonderful. And the garbage man. I love them both.
Isn't that something? Isn't that something? And we appreciate you guys joining us today. Again, share away. We'll keep you. I mean, we're gonna tease the our community with where we're at in the donations, and we'll also do the drawing. And we appreciate you guys. Your shares are important to us, to this cause. And stay tuned, because we've got some other causes that we're working on here in 2025.
Yeah, thank you all in advance. You guys are wonderful.
Yeah, thank you, Doc.